before this episode starts, I just want to make clear that there is quite a bit of echo later. Unfortunately, there is not much I can do. It's mainly on me, so we apologize, and that should be fixed next episode.
Hi, fellow friends in fried fish. Do you like a tasty Magikarp dish? We're going to be serving up some spicy Magikarp goodness on this week's Nintendo Unleashed, episode 117, the pre-E3 episode. I'm here today with just Connor.
Hi, I'm just Connor.
Yeah, unfortunately, and no, the reason I say just Connor, I don't mean to, diminish Connor. Connor's a great guy, but unfortunately, Arms, we thought was going to be here this week, but he could not make it. We were going to get the gang back together again, but alas, hopefully he'll be on for our E3 episode. We'll see. Anyway, E3 is right around the corner. It is on, I think, Tuesday for Nintendo, and all the other conferences start on Saturday, I believe. I think Sony's on Monday, right?
Have they given their time? I haven't seen anyone talk about theirs.
I think they're Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific.
So just the same time as usual.
Yeah.
Microsoft randomly switched to Sunday for some reason, so
great. That's fun. Can't wait to see Scorpio. Wow, it's gonna be very exciting.
Monday used to be like the busy day, and now it's just Sony and Ubisoft.
Kind of shifted. Anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit about E3 this week, but we're also going to talk about Super Nintendo World. We got some more details. We're going to talk about a Pokemon Direct, which surprised some people, myself included. And we're going to talk about some new details about the Switch online service, which Nintendo finally released for us. First off, though, as usual, we're going to talk about what games we've been playing for the past week. So, Connor, I'll let you kick us off.
Well, I've been playing this great game that launched recently called Magikarp Jump. It's a mobile phone game, and it's I'm playing it right now. I'm training up. I just caught a Magikarp, and I'm nicknaming him Meme.
Very good.
Because I always nickname them something stupid, and that's the first thing I thought of.
Nice.
And,
now, go ahead.
Basically, in this quality game, which we didn't get to talk about because of our little hiatus, you have to raise a Magikarp to jump higher than all the other Magikarp.
So somehow I've managed to avoid all gameplay of this game. How does the gameplay actually work? Is there gameplay?
No, it's basically just a tapper game. The kind of main thing, you're in this pond and there's berries floating around, and you tap the berry, and when Magikarp eats the berries, he gains experience. And then there's also a training mode which gets more experience, but you only have a certain amount of training points, and then either you pay to restore them or you wait. It doesn't take very long. Usually you can play like every hour or so.
Okay.
Then there's also the league, which is where you jump the highest, and all you do is just tap a button that says jump Magikarp or something, and he jumps, and depending on their jump power, which is related to the level as well as what kind of training you've done, determines who jumped higher.
Nice, good. It's funny the way you're describing it sounds. I was thinking about like a Tamagotchi. It has like very simple elements of like raising this pet and doing these very simple actions. It kind of sounds similar to that, but with Magikarp. Except you throw it away when he loses.
Yeah, if you when he gets to his max level, you have to go through the league. You're just forced to automatically, whether you had points or not. Because the league also, you can only do a certain amount of times, but like usually the jump in JP is high enough that you're not going to be able to do it anyway within the time limit.
Mm-hmm.
So if you fail to beat the league, and you're at your max level, Magikarp's forced to retire. And every once in a while, they kind of swim in the background of your pond, and you can like tap them and see which generation they were.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else this week for you?
Not this week, but I did beat Breath of the Wild while we were on hiatus. I got both endings, which is related to if you got all the memories or not. I'm pretty sure that's the only way to affect the ending.
Yeah, did you do all the shrines? I don't know if the shrines have an effect or if it's
I did all the shrines.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure if it's shrines and memories or just memories, but
I think just memories, because the ending is kind of, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's kind of based around Link remembering Zelda.
Right. Yeah, so that's probably an accurate. That seems fair, and I think if you don't get it, she says something or when you're.
Well, if you don't get it, so like, basically the ending for 100%ing it or getting all the memories, I mean, happens after the credits.
Right.
But everything before the credits is the exact same, whether you got all the memories or not.
The only thing I'm not sure about, though, I think when you're about to fight Gain in its final form, I think she says something along the lines of, like, even if you haven't collected all the memories yet or something like that. Because I feel like I was watching gameplay of someone's ending who didn't. I could be wrong there. I don't want to worry too much about it, but regardless, it's the memories are definitely an important part of it. Shrines, like, plus or minus. And so, yeah. So you got both of them?
Yeah.
Nice.
And also played Love Live and probably other stuff, but I don't really remember.
Yeah, it's been, what, 2 weeks? Something like that?
May 13th is the last episode, so about 3 weeks.
Gotcha. Today was my last day of school, so I'm done with that, thank God. 1 more year of high school.
Hype.
And so I haven't had a ton of time. Well, I mean, I guess I can talk about the ARMS test fire because that was within 3 weeks.
Oh, right, I played that.
Yeah. So I love that. How did you feel about that?
I played the training mode,
Mm-hmm.
like that you're forced to do as soon as you start, and I was all like, "Oh, this is fun. I'll go play a match or two." And then I went on and got my ass kicked, and then like literally, because it was that stage where it's like a staircase.
Mm-hmm. And you start at the bottom or top?
I was at the top, so like, I don't know if it's just because I was bad and that guy happened to know something, but I feel like if you're at the top, you immediately have a disadvantage on that stage because it's easier to aim upwards than downwards.
Yeah, that's true. Was that the I wonder, was that the first test fire or test punch, or was that one of the later ones?
Yeah, it was the first test punch.
Oh.
But I just played that one match, didn't get a single hit on him, and was like, nah, bye, and never played it again.
Solid. Hopefully, well, so from what I've heard, in the final release, in that party mode, which I really love the setup for, by the way, like the way players get broken up into different matches and stuff. If a player's on like a winning streak or something, they'll receive like a health handicap depending on how well they're doing. So they might start matches with like 75% health or even 50% health. But I guess the positive, so one, that sort of balances out the playing field, and two, it makes it tougher for them. If they win with that handicap, they'll receive more currency. So it sort of balances things out in a cool way. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that system works. I have the game pre-ordered. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I played 5 or 6 of them. I stuck with motion controls the entire time. I'm determined to stick with them when I get the game. I've seen multiple reviews saying, you can't do as well with the motion, but I'm willing. I'm determined to prove that wrong. Just because without the motion, you can't curve your punches independently, and you can't do an outwards curve grab, which has a much wider range. Really, the only advantage to moving the only advantages of having. I mean, some people say it's like more precise the punches, but I don't buy that. The one thing I do buy is that it's easier to guard, because on the motion controls you have to tilt the Joy-Cons inward, but on the Pro Controller you just have to click the left stick, which is you can do much more quickly. because of what I've heard. If you try to tilt them in very quickly, it might register as a punch, which hasn't happened to me yet, but I can understand that. So I enjoyed that. I've been playing more Mario Kart Deluxe at school. Today was cool. So because today was the last day of school, traditionally I always play a ton of video games on the last day of school, and so I brought my Switch in, and I found freshmen who had their Switch. They brought their dock and they'd hooked up to a TV in the cafeteria, and so what we did is we did 2v2 wireless, so 2 people on the TV, 2 people in tabletop mode. So that was fun. And then so I don't have Street Fighter 2, but that kid did. So I got to play Street Fighter 2 on Switch, which, hey, it's Street Fighter 2. I still don't think it's worth $40, but it's, it was fun. And then we played some 1-2 Switch, which I was the reigning milk champion. I'm very proud of.
Doing Unleashed proud.
Unleashed what?
Doing Unleashed proud.
Exactly. Out there repping Unleashed with the milk squad. I should have had like an Unleashed bucket or something for my milk. I don't know. I was pretty good. I enjoyed the table tennis one as well. I get very much into that, even though I think it should be called ping pong, the true name. And that's it. I haven't. Oh, well, one other thing, I guess. I downloaded this fun game called Mini Metro. It's sort of like this, almost like a Metro Tycoon type thing, but it has a very minimalist UI. It sort of reminds me of Pikmin in like that it's very management based. It's tough. It's like I haven't gotten ultra far, but it's always fun. It's like a cute, mesmerizing little game. So check it out. Check out Mini Metro. I feel like it would be a good fit for Switch with it, with playing with a touchscreen. Anyway, I'll go into this week's Nintendo download. So on the Switch, Switch retail download, Cars 3 Driven to Win.
Hype.
It's a $60 full price retail release. I'm not even going to bother spending too much time on that. That's available from June 13th, so that's coming a bit later, but it's listed on the download here. Shantae Half Genie Hero. This game released, I believe, in like December on other platforms, and it was the Shantae that had a successful Kickstarter campaign. And unlike some other Kickstarter campaigns, it was quite good of a game. Perhaps because there have been, a lot of Shantae games in recent years, they'd sort of gotten to the groove of it, whereas these other people were coming back after, a 20-year break. Apparently this game does some cool stuff with HD Rumble because, Shantae is all about dancing. Well, there's some dancing elements for sure. I'll probably pick this one up. The last Shantae game I played was Pirates Curse on 3DS. I enjoyed it a lot, and this is $20, so I'll probably give it a go. Give it a spin. Fun to have in handheld mode. We've got Shock Troopers Second Squad, which is another Neo Geo game. I think there's one of these every week. It feels like the new GG series. Certainly impressive. I think there's at least like 20 of these things on here already.
Well, I mean, GG series launched like 20 each week, so
yeah,
lots of catching up to do.
Unprecedented strength. On 3DS eShop, Anime Workshop. It's an $8 app that allows you to create animations and share them online. I don't know if there's like a suite within the app or if you have to like export it to your SD card. Not sure. Maybe Conor will do some research for us. We have a 3DS Disney Tsum Tsum theme.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I guess I never really understood those things. I guess they're just like cute little collectible fat head guys. Sort of reminds me of Funko Pop, which is not a good thing. Cars 3 Driven to Win, also on Wii U. I think it's one of the last Wii U retail. I can't remember the last Wii U retail release I've seen on here. It's $10 less than the Switch version. So hey, unless you're really craving that handheld Cars experience, might want to go for that cheap version. We've got Qubit, the hardcore platformer Robot HD on Wii U, which is $5. I honestly have no idea if the 3DS version is any good. There's a demo for that Wii U game, so may as well check it out. So pick of the week, I would either have to go with Cars 3, honestly. Cars 3 Driven to Win. Movie times like this never go poorly. And hey, on Switch you're getting an unprecedented level of quality.
It's
and your
especially true that the Cars 2 was one of Pixar's most beloved movies. And so Cars 3 is clearly being made for the fans and not just as a cash grab, like sequels frequently are.
Right.
So it can only be assumed that the video game will be treated with the same respect.
Yeah, exactly. Like the movie itself is like a pure, like anyone who knows anything about Pixar, well, it's a pure passion project. It's not coming from a place of financial, conservative is conservatism is that's not a word. Financial, they're not financially conservative here. They're not doing the easy way out there. This is a pure passion project. So hopefully the game follows foot there. So pick of the week, even though we don't know, we haven't seen reviews, we have the utmost confidence in this Warner Brothers interactive title.
Oh, it's Warner Brothers. Never mind.
Shantae. Okay. Anyway, so Super Nintendo World I mentioned earlier. This is Nintendo's sort of collaboration theme park type thing they're doing with Universal Osaka and Florida, and I think also Hollywood. So we got some official promotional materials, including this CG type trailer featuring also some strange live action children who were fawning over Mario as though he was some husbando character.
Yes.
Obviously, that mustache, and his new Super HD hair in Mario Odyssey, right? It's all the more reason to fall in love.
Exactly.
So basically, this 3D, it's like a 30-second promotional video. It basically showed us the same area that concept art that came out a couple months ago. It sort of looks similar to that. It has both Peach's castle as well as Bowser's castle. Something I thought was cool, assuming they stick to this design, it showed the entrance as like going through a warp pipe, which I hope that is in the real thing because that would just be so awesome. We also found that the Mario Kart is going to be the centerpiece attraction, surprising no one. Supposedly uses the most futuristic technology, so certainly they're going to want to promote their own thing, but I'm going to, I personally have faith in this ride because Universal's Harry Potter stuff those rides are incredible, in the areas themselves. So, assuming they don't, well, they're not going to be lazy. I mean, I forget how much it is, but we know they're investing a ton of money into this area. So, clearly they're putting in a lot of work and expecting a big result. And I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what comes out of it. And so now construction has officially started in the Japan area. We haven't heard anything about the Florida or California areas yet, but hopefully they'll follow suit. Another strange tidbit to come out of this is they said there will be 2 layers of attractions, shops, and stores. So not really sure if they physically mean 2 layers or if they mean like, oh, Mario and Zelda. Maybe there's like an underground portion where you take like a warp pipe down or something, and that's what they mean by 2 layers. I don't know. But regardless, hopefully we see more photos coming from construction. I've never really been following closely the amusement park insider scene. I know there is one. I just don't really follow it. So hopefully we see photos and that kind of thing from the construction. It'll be interesting to see how development progresses on that. Anyway, moving on, mobile app stuff. So this is a bit of old news, but since we haven't been on in a few weeks, we figured we'd share it with you guys anyway. This is, I believe, a report from the Wall Street Journal where they're claiming that a Zelda game will be coming to mobile after Animal Crossing. Now, we haven't heard what form this will take, but, presumably it will... Well, at least, okay, so what I would assume is that it would follow a similar gameplay style to, the general Zelda formula. And I'm just saying that because the previous Nintendo mobile games, both Mario Run and Fire Emblem Heroes, is sort of like they've been watered down versions, but they've still retained that core experience of what the gameplay is all about. So, Mario, it's about, platforming. Fire Emblem, it's about that tactical strategy. So hopefully Zelda incorporates, whether it's puzzles, exploration, combat, all 3. I don't think they'd manage to do all 3 in an app just because of, the simplified control scheme that they're dealing with. But if they can manage to fit, say, 2 of those 3, possibly something like the, possibly something with automatic movement like that Nintendo Land game with Zelda,
Maybe it'll actually be Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land 3.
Oh, 3? Was there a second?
Yeah, it was only in Japan and it was a dating sim.
Oh, nice. Were you dating Tingle?
No, well, I think it was like some weird thing where like you went to the island of Tingle and everyone was wearing Tingle's costume.
And so you dated all the Tingle-looking people.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't. Well, learn more every day. Maybe it'll be a Tingle. Well, I mean, the real question is, does Rosie Rupee Land 3, does it follow in the dating sim footsteps, or does it harken back to the original?
Or maybe they completely changed the genre again.
That's possible. I mean, we all know Tingle's known for genre bending. So who knows? Maybe this next one will be like a cooking mama-esque. You're cooking up the Breath of the Wild recipes as Tingle. You have to slice the carrots and everything.
I can't wait.
Can't wait. So yeah, I mean, hey, I've been kind of lukewarm on the Nintendo apps so far, but I'm hoping they can do cool things with Zelda. I'm personally hoping Kirby's next, because I feel like Kirby has so much. Kirby has had so many simple gameplay styles that I feel it could be well translated. He's had tilting related games. He's had games where you draw a path. Kirby's Air Ride just had one button.
They could pretty easily incorporate like a Canvas Curse / Rainbow Curse style gameplay.
Yeah.
Or tilt and tumble, because I'm pretty sure all smartphones have tilting capabilities.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you would have to have a pretty, even like the original iPhone, I think, has the gyro stuff. So
yeah, gyro, that's what it's called.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and honestly, this information doesn't come as surprising. I mean, Zelda's one of Nintendo's biggest franchises, and it's getting an especially strong push this year with Breath of the Wild being as big as it has been.
It's actually kind of surprising it took so long for a Zelda game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You would think they would. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll kind of release it around the same time as the second wave of DLC for Breath of the Wild to sort of tie it in there. What they've shown so far, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell so far how concerned they are launching their app sort of close to another, real game on their systems. Like Mario Run launched close to Mario Maker 3DS, but they didn't really tie them together that much. Fire Emblem Heroes launched in like February, right? And Echoes didn't launch until May, so that was they still promoted them across. There were Echoes characters in Heroes, but who knows? And you also got to wonder about the Animal Crossing one. Does that Animal Crossing app mean we're seeing a new Animal Crossing for Switch, new one for 3DS? Please no. But I'm sure we'll hear more soon. Maybe at E3. Don't know.
I think it will be an Amiibo Festival port.
Oh god. I mean,
for 3DS.
Can't wait. And there's no online. It's just download play. So have fun. Look forward to it.
Not even download play. It's actually you sit around with the one 3DS and you have to keep scanning Amiibo.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that would be awesome. or they could do it like the Switch, split screen on the 3DS.
Split screen.
Well, you could have one person on the top of the screen, one person on the bottom screen with a resolution of like 80.
But then if you're playing on a new 3DS, then you tap the Amiibo onto the person who's on the bottom.
Oh, that's true. Well, I guess maybe let's kind of have a brainstorming here. So maybe only the person playing on the bottom screen gets to use the Amiibo. So they have the disadvantage of sometimes they can't see what's happening, but they have the advantage of, I have the powers of Amiibo. Maybe that's the hook.
Isn't that how you play the entire game? Like you have to tap the Amiibo to move?
I think.
So how would the top player move at all?
The A button.
So like
no. Okay, you would have to buy the Amiibo portal, right? The 3DS Amiibo portal.
Does that even work on the new 3DS?
Oh, that's actually a good question. I sure hope so, because you're going to need it for this game. Well,
I mean, hopefully go down to my brother's room, use his new 3DS, and my portal.
Maybe that's a new feature on the new 2DS XL. Use the scanner, because that way the person who's on the top screen doesn't have the disadvantage of having their screen covered, but they don't get as high of a roll. So there's that. Look forward to that game on 3DS. Project Rat Rabbit is probably going to fall short of its goal. I forget if we've talked about this on the show before.
No, the Kickstarter launched after we went on hiatus.
So the tagline, one of the taglines is "Make rhythm action great again," which definitely makes me want to donate. And originally, one of the stretch goals was for the Switch, and it was very ambitious. But it looks like after a lot of, I guess, feedback, they lowered it substantially. I don't know if the Switch version is guaranteed at the base goal now, but I know it's lowered. But alas, the game is only at about 10% of its goal, and there are 11 days to go. I've speculated that, hey, well, so we were talking about this before the show. I guess we can repeat some of our thoughts. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe it gets a push at E3. Connor, what did you have to say about Parappa? I think you had some good thoughts there.
Well, Parappa in general is a pretty niche series. I think it's a series. I think it got a sequel.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's pretty niche already, and then they're for over $1 million. And the original pitch, at least I don't think even now has any gameplay. So plus combined with the fact that Mighty Number 9 kind of killed off support of these games, and Ukulele 2 was received fairly mediocrely. I think people just kind of didn't feel like donating to this.
Yeah. Also, breaking news here. We have Nintendo's E3 Spotlight schedule leaked internal use only. Kirby, working title. Mario Party 11. We just mentioned 3 Sarasa Land spirits. You know when people throw in a Super Mario Brothers 2 reference that it's going to be real. You know Wart is coming back. That's definitely happening. Super Mario Maker Deluxe, because they're going to use that subtitle a third time. Kirby Defenders of Dreamland, which is for 3DS. Metroid 2D for Switch and 3DS, which, it's coming to both, makes sense. Overwatch, Metroid Prime 4. So, guys, they're showing all these games in 30 minutes. Be excited.
And apparently Platonic's working on a Donkey Kong Country game.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a 3D Donkey Kong Country game, sort of like in the style of Donkey Kong 64, even though their games are traditionally 2D. So they're going to sort of round out the trilogy. And Retro is the one making – they're making Metroid Prime 4.
And Nintendo also internally uses their old logo, not their current logo.
Yeah. No, I think yeah, using their logo from the 1980s shows how iconic. Oh, God. Yeah. And so remember, it's for internal use only, in case that was unclear. Yeah, and some of the platforms are listed as multi, which definitely someone who isn't in the game community would know what multi means. They would definitely get that means multi-platform. So definitely not made by a fan. Look forward to it. Anyway, moving on. Switch online details. We finally got some more solid details on this, and it's mostly good news. First, I guess the biggest piece is that it is delayed until 2018. Now, while this might initially be seen as a worrisome thing, it's also a positive because it means online will be free through the rest of 2017. Yay! It also means the trial for voice chat now that will run longer. It would have originally run about 3 months, but now it's going to run for about 6 months probably, depending on when in 2018 the service launches. We also know that the digital retro game selection thing, when they previously announced this service, they said that these retro games they would have online play and you would keep them only for that month. But now it sounds like they've updated it and said, for as long as you're subscribed, you'll keep them. So that's definitely a positive improvement. Though I don't really care about having Balloon Fight again. I hope they offer stuff beyond just NES games. We'll see, though. I mean, at least Super Nintendo games would be nice. I would enjoy like F-Zero or Super Mario Kart Online. I just don't really care a whole lot about Balloon Fight, to be honest. We also got the pricing. I can't speak for Canada or other regions, but we know in the US it'll be $20 for 1 year, which is 1/3 the cost of the other big services. So pretty good deal. And Connor, how much is it in Canada again? I think you said it was like, I forget if the price was confirmed or if they just said not confirmed yet for other regions.
It's not confirmed. I can check what that would be, though.
Let's find out.
That's 27 Canadian dollars as of recording.
So who knows? Maybe it'll be 30. Maybe it'll be 25. Regardless, I personally think the best thing to come out of this is that we won't have to pay till 2018. I mean, Splatoon 2 will be coming out, and I'll be playing that a ton this summer, and so it's good that I know I'll just have to spend less money on it. And I don't imagine we'll hear anything more at E3. I imagine this is just one of those things they wanted to get out of the way because, we know the spotlight is only going to be about half an hour long, and spending 5 minutes on this would probably be a bit dull, admittedly. So I guess smart to get this out of the way. And it's mostly all positive news. Certainly seems like there's a more positive vibe now than there was when they first announced their service. So there's that. And moving on. So a Pokemon Direct happened. I think there was like a 2-day turnaround with announcement and actual Direct. So a lot of people, when this was first announced, myself included, were going absolutely nuts thinking, oh man, Pokemon Stars, it's happening. But we finally got our hopes and dreams shut down by Masuda. So I will say there were some solid announcements. I'm looking forward to some of the stuff here. First off, we found that Pokken Tournament Deluxe is coming to Switch on September 22nd. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon coming to November 17th on 3DS. And Pokemon Gold and Silver coming to 3DS Virtual Console, I believe, also in September.
September 22nd.
Okay, so same day as Pokken there. So at first, I, like an idiot, thought that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were just bad names, but then I remembered that Ultra Beasts were a thing, so I'll give them that. And so I guess it makes sense for them to do this before E3 because typically they don't. I mean, the only time I can remember seeing Pokemon stuff at E3 was the year they showed Zelda. There was like the first gameplay footage for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. But typically, it seems like Pokemon doesn't have a huge presence,
With X and Y, they revealed Fairy type at E3.
Oh yeah, that was at the start of the night.
But for the most part, usually Pokemon games were more marketed for Japan, and then they were out for months, so they didn't really bother giving them presents.
Right, and I believe Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon I believe they're doing a worldwide simultaneous release for that.
Yeah, which is a first Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, which also had a trailer with those two. And Sun and Moon were delayed in Europe for no real reason.
Leaks. Punishment.
Canada also leaked.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Well, that ruins that theory. Anyway, so I believe... Oh, well, okay, so here's what's, I guess, interesting to me. So with Pokken, they announced that they're going to be having a sort of like an invitational at E3 alongside the existing Splatoon 2 and ARMS invitationals. It's crazy to me that they announced that invitational essentially a week before it's happening. That just feels like such a quick turnaround. And, immediately after they published this video, like Switch summer games, and it showed like, Splatoon, ARMS, and Pokken. And so it's just interesting to me how quick the marketing turnaround has been for this game. It just shows that they were, probably chomping at the bit to get this thing revealed. So, we know it's probably been in the works for a while, and, they've had time to prepare marketing and things like that. So I guess, okay, there was a lot of salt. I feel like the salt is definitely a thing to address. A lot of people sort of disappointed that, the 3DS is going to keep getting games. But for me, the bigged sign that points to Nintendo continuing to support the 3DS this year. So initially, I didn't trust them when they said, we're going to keep supporting it. But after they announced the new 2DS XL, I guess that sort of convinced me, like, all right, we're going to get some sort of big holiday title, and here it is. So I haven't played, the last Pokemon sequels were Black 2 and White 2, but I never fully beat them. So if you can help me understand, do they take place in the same region, but it's the story that's different? Is that like the main, like the primary change? Like you follow a different path through the world?
Well, Black 2 and White 2 were different from usual, because normally we got like Yellow, which is based off then Crystal, Emerald, and Platinum are kind of deluxe updates to the originals. then Black 2 and White 2 are actually sequels. But the one how they've worded it sounds like it's Sun and Moon, but like alternate storyline, but the same region, time period, and everything.
Gotcha. So yeah, this is one of those games where, despite some of the salt I've been seeing, I mean, hey, it's Pokemon is on 3DS. I think it'll probably be a huge seller for Nintendo, and it'll sort of continue their 3DS momentum through the holiday.
People saying that no one wanted a Pokemon on 3DS. What is it? 64 million people compared to 3 million, and the Switch isn't restocking. So
yeah, so even if the install or even if the attach rate was only 10%. For Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, it would still be more than all the Switch owners, and hey, it's going to be higher than 10% because it's Pokemon, whether you like it or not.
The original Sun and Moon were 15 million.
Yeah. Do you know if the third/fourth versions typically sell more than the originals? I don't know what the pattern's like with that.
Usually worse, I think.
Okay, but probably not by a huge margin. So yeah, I mean, there's no way. Well, yeah, I mean, these games are going to perform well no matter what. So ultimately, despite some people's disappointment, myself included, I won't deny that I'm like, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's the most realistic scenario business-wise.
Also, they don't have to make a new engine because I doubt Sun and Moon's engine would easily on the Switch.
Mm-hmm. And so as for Pokken being on Switch, so I wasn't personally a big fan of the original, but I guess I think it's a smart title for a few reasons. One, it's another competitive game. They seem to very much be pushing that competitive edge with the Switch with Splatoon, ARMS, Street Fighter, and all that. And two, it's just a way that they can say, hey, we have Pokemon on the Switch, no matter what form it takes. It's certainly a more substantial form than Pokemon Rumble World, so there's that. And I think it'll do pretty well. I think the game did well on Wii U. Obviously, it was limited by the Wii U being the Wii U, but I suspect this game will do quite well, assuming they can market it right. So, did you play the original Pokken? I forget.
Yeah, I didn't really like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of traditional fighters, and I feel like it falls into that category. But, Pokemon's Pokemon, and it has that owl boy. So, Decidueye? Something like that?
Yeah.
There we go. They said his name in the direct, so now I finally know how to pronounce it properly. And of course, Gold and Silver is cool as well.
Weird how there's no crystal.
Yeah, you would hope, because that's kind of just the best version, right? But because we did get yellow, so why not crystal? I don't know.
Yeah, and in Japan they got red, green, blue, and yellow. So.
Well, as much as I haven't touched my 3DS since the Switch came out, I may pick this up just because Soul Silver was my first Pokemon game, so it'd be a fun nostalgia kick. And overall, a good direct. I mean, Pokemon's definitely gonna have another solid year business-wise. I know there's some sort of Pokemon Go event going on, but to be honest, I couldn't tell you much about that. I just know that it exists.
Yeah, same.
So, anyway. Moving on to our final topic. Oh, this one is the one that gives me, I'm starting to grin because E3 is right around the corner. It's on Tuesday, for Nintendo anyway. And we'll talk a little bit about it. So, because Armando's not on, we're not going to do a full-on prediction game and everything, but we can still talk about it. We can provide some light predictions and, provide our expectations and that kind of thing. So, what are your main thoughts going into this event, in this spotlight event?
30 minutes of Mario Odyssey, and that's it. Yeah. No.
Oh
God. I know a lot of people are like getting hyped about like new announced games, but I don't think like maybe two. But I think
I agree.
It's gonna be like here's new info on Splatoon, here's new info on Xenoblade, here's new info on what else? Fire Emblem, maybe.
Right.
Maybe
Rabbids. We're gonna get that Rabbids reveal.
Yeah, Rabbit.
Though I do wonder if that's going to be revealed at Ubisoft's conference instead, because I remember, didn't they have the Zombie U reveal? I think they revealed Zombie U before Nintendo. So, because I think Ubisoft would definitely, being able to say, "Oh, we showed a Mario game at our conference," would definitely be a good feather in their cap. So I can certainly see them revealing it there, and maybe they won't spend as much time on it at the Nintendo Spotlight, because maybe they understand that's not necessarily what their core audience. I think that game is maybe marketed more towards children, and they understand maybe that's not what their Spotlight audience is looking for. So maybe they won't spend a ton of time on it. They'll definitely spend a good amount of time on Odyssey. They already stated that that's going to be a focus. For me, my personal, well, there's expectations and there's hopes, right? I'm hoping that they don't talk about ARMS, because that game is coming out 3 days after the Spotlight. Again, I know they're going to want to push it, but they've already done a ton of promotion for it through the Direct and the Test Punch. I mean, hey, if they want to talk about it for 2 minutes, I just hope they don't take up a ton of time. Splatoon 2, yeah, I think we'll see a good amount of. As Connor said, Fire Emblem Warriors, Xenoblade 2. I'm personally thinking Xenoblade gets delayed into 2018 just because they have so many games for 2017 already. I don't think you need another in 2017 at the moment. May as well put that in February or January. In terms of reveals, I've talked about this a lot on Twitter. The only game I personally want to see revealed that we haven't heard about is Retro's new game. I'm hoping it's a new IP, one. And two, the reason I think it's, time is their last game, which was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, I believe was a 2014 release. Yeah, it came out in February 2014. So it's been 3 years since that game came out. And we know they started development on their next game before they finished development on that game. So it's been in the works for over 3 years. So even if it doesn't come out until 2018, I'm hoping we at least get a trailer, even if it's not playable on the show floor. Just because, well, one, I mainly want it to be a new IP. Admittedly, as much as I enjoy the Donkey Kong Country games, especially the modern ones, I hope it's not a third. I think Nintendo will look at Tropical Freeze and say, hey, this maybe didn't perform too well. Maybe they'll just chalk that up to the Wii U, but I'm personally hoping they show off a new IP because, I feel like they haven't really gotten to maybe flex their creative muscle there at that studio as much as they wanted to. So I would love to see a new IP from them, especially if it's barbecue related, because they've been tweeting a ton of just barbecue things all the time.
It's going to be a sequel to Grill Off with Ultra Hand.
I actually tweeted that earlier. Barbecue with Ultra Hand. I would not mind that at all. I certainly don't think Nintendo would do that. That's the most obscure IP they could bring back. But yeah, who knows? I mean, Nintendo has never really tried their hand at a cooking game. Like obviously, Cooking Mama was a really big thing on DS, but I wouldn't mind a restaurant simulator with barbecue. That would actually be awesome. Especially, we know Nintendo enjoys very pretty food renders. Just look at Pikmin 3, as well as the lemons in Paper Mario Color Splash. Who knows? HD food, please. So yeah, I'm hoping. Now, what I don't think we're going to see, which a lot of people are hoping for, I don't think we're going to see a new Animal Crossing. Because that update for the 3DS version, Welcome Amiibo, just came out. They were busy, presumably working on that. I don't think we would see a turnaround time this quickly for a Switch version. I think it's possible we could see one coming out in 2018, in late 2018, but I don't think we'll see it at this year's E3. I think maybe next E3. Do you have any specific predictions in terms of things we haven't seen?
Stars is real and is coming to certain.
Oh my God.
Not really.
Hey, I'd say at the end of the day, it's probably smart to keep expectations low. I wonder if we'll see any third-party talk, Call of Duty or anything like that. I personally doubt it. Hearthstone would be a fun Switch edition.
We'll definitely see that Overwatch port.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's
and for sure that Bubsy game.
Oh yeah, Bub. I don't even know what it's called, but you never know. Nintendo publishing.
It's on PC and PS4.
Oh, but still, they'll be breaking the ground, just like Microsoft Studios published Minecraft on Switch. This can be a new frontier for Nintendo. Anyway, that's about it for E3. I don't think we have I don't think Blaze Kick has plans to do live streaming or anything like that this year. I think you can still expect us to, sort of cover the news as we have been. At least I'm hoping to. Yeah, look forward to it. I'm sure we'll have plenty to say. Hopefully we'll have an episode next week. Hopefully Armando will be on, and maybe we'll have Tyler or some other guest as well to chat it up about Mario Odyssey and hopefully new IP from Retro. We'll see. Anyway, not last week's poll, last month's poll. Are we even going to be able to locate that? It's like MIA at this point.
Yeah, I found it.
Okay.
Blaze Kick never really tweeted for a month, so it wasn't that hard. A month ago, on May 16th, we asked you, relating to E3, do you prefer Nintendo's digital events or live conferences? And 28 votes, 68% said digital, and 32 said live.
Alrighty then. Well,
and this week's poll, how salty are you? 3DS, Switch. So we got Ultra Salt, Deluxe, Freshwater Baby, and Salt.
Get it? Assault?
Ha.
Yeah,
I just got that.
Nice. It's a good one. Yeah, that's it, folks. I mean, let's go ahead and close it out,
Okay, so we got them plugs because it's been a while. So I started this great retrospective on Thomas the Tank Engine series. Season 1 and 2 are up. You should go read those, and also read my Necoparo volume for review. Unfortunately, Necoparo Wii appears to be sold. I know that was Unleashed first good, but darn.
Yeah. It happens.
And follow us on VidMe and subscribe on YouTube to get the video version of the podcast, which wasn't this episode supposed to be an actual video podcast. Rip. And subscribe on iTunes and Google Play for the audio podcast. Follow us on Twitter.
I'm Dashy007. Sorry, you cut out. My bad. I'm Dashy007.
Arms is arms and red. Home for all your Thomas the Tank Engine retrospectives. And see you next week for E3.
Ciao.